comes to the various Kekkei Genkai that exist in Naruto, Scorch release, in my opinion, has to be one of the coolest ones that we were introduced to. Like, you got Lava release, which is pretty damn cool itself, and then you got Scorch release. Two different Kekkei Genkai that use fire change and chakra nature as a base, yet two Kekkei Genkai that are extremely different when you look deeply into how they actually work. So in today's latest installment of the Kekkei Genkai Handbook, we're gonna take a look at Scorch release. Now, for those of you guys who are new, the Kekkei Genkai Handbook is a series on this channel where we take a look at the various Kekkei Genkai that exist in Naruto and we explore them in a video, breaking them down in an easy to understand manner, and where necessary we dive a little bit deeper into them if the information about it is actually available. Now, in the case of Scorch release, what I find so fascinating about this Kekkei Genkai is the fact that it's so overpowered that it's actually underrated. Now, it's not as cool and as flashy as the sharingan, but it does perhaps have some of the most damage when it is used to its fullest extent. Now, we saw during the 4th Great Ninja War how Scorch release was used to the point where an entire body of a target was dried up, leaving it as a corpse immediately upon impact. Now, to put this into perspective, most of the human body is made up of water, 60% to be exact. In a mere instant, Scorch release was able to evaporate all of that water inside the body when it was used to its fullest extent. So take your body weight and think about 60% of your body being evaporated upon impact. That's absolutely insane, especially when you consider that the whole body was left shriveled up like a dried prune. Scorch release is created by molding fire and wind changing chakra nature together, which makes a lot of sense when you look at the relationship that the two changes in chakra nature have together, since fire release is naturally stronger than wind release. So combining the two would create some pretty intense heat when it comes to the attacks, which should make you look at how the entire body had its water evaporated in mere moments. And by mere moments, I mean instantaneously. Now, some of these attacks, such as the evaporation blast, can be used to create a massive explosion after combining Scorch release orbs all together at once. For those of you guys who need visualization, think about how Kage took all those truth-seeking orbs and put all of them together. That's something similar to this, only not on as large of a scale. Now, the force of the attack was enough so that it was able to take out a giant radius of the battlefield, and most importantly, the level of heat that was generated was enough that anything that's caught inside the blast radius is directly incinerated by the heat that's being given off. I don't like to throw out numbers in these videos, but I have to in the case of this in order to give you guys an idea of how potentially overpowered Scorch release attacks can get. Look at the temperature that a thermal incinerator runs at. This is a really good example in my opinion. So a thermal incinerator that focuses on thermal destruction of organic compounds begins to start running at between 1100 and 1200 degrees Fahrenheit. Water itself begins to evaporate at 212 degrees Fahrenheit. But when you consider how quickly Scorch release was used to evaporate 60% of the water from a human body in mere moments, you can begin to understand how much higher of a temperature Scorch release is able to create in order to accomplish such a feat, because it does so instantaneously. Now, the super steam kill jutsu is just another fun jutsu in my opinion. The orbs in the manga give off the appearance of being little small suns that circle around the user, similar to what you see with the truth-seeking orbs. It's almost like Kishimoto was foreshadowing that way back in the day. But here's the thing about that though. So they can be used to attack the enemy. Now, just by being struck by these orbs, it's basically an instant kill in my opinion, because it causes instant mummification because all the water inside the body is evaporated. Personally, given how cool of a concept that this Kekkei Genkai is, it still blows my mind to this day that Masashi Kishimoto, out of all the brilliant ideas he had in the war, Kishimoto thought, yeah, I just need to show this in one page. And when doing research on this Kekkei Genkai for this video, I was really pleased to see that the anime actually expanded on the usage of this Kekkei Genkai a lot more, which is a side note. This will be one of the few times you actually hear me praise the anime, because as a lot of you guys know, I prefer the Naruto manga over the Naruto Shippuden anime. So basically I skipped like 90% of the anime because I prefer the manga content, but hey, that's just me. But when you consider how overpowered this jutsu is, it makes you appreciate the balance that Masashi Kishimoto had to strike when he came up with this concept. There's literally only one user for this jutsu. Nobody else has awakened this Kekkei Genkai, probably for good reason. We've seen multiple Rinnegan users, hell, we've seen multiple Rinnegan users on the same fucking battlefield at one point. And that's pretty damn telling. That shit is rare as hell to awaken, and it's one of the most broken dojutsu in the series. Wood release had multiple users, and even in Boruto, people are looking left and right to get their hands on some Hashirama cells for power. Yet Scorch release, something that is an instant kill when used properly, was only used by one person throughout the entire history of Naruto. That, in my opinion, gives you an idea of how broken it is, and that's how you should treat a broken jutsu. You limit the number of people who get it, especially if it's a Kekkei Genkai. When you consider the possibilities of Scorch release, it really becomes pretty clear that this Kekkei Genkai is busted as hell. Like, imagine for a second that there was a change in chakra form that was applied to an extreme extent for Scorch release. Or I'll do you even one better. Imagine if there's someone who has Scorch release as a Kekkei Genkai, and they learned the Rasengan, and they added Scorch release as a change in chakra nature to the Rasengan. We already saw what happened when an entire area was incinerated by Scorch release. So imagine what adding the power of the Rasengan could do, or God forbid a Scorch release with Sen Shuriken. Good God, that is scary when you think about it. I thought Naruto having the lava style with Sen Shuriken was really scary, since it pulled off some insane shit in the war arc when Naruto used it in his basic Sage of Six Pass mode. A Scorch release with Sen Shuriken might be able to dry up an entire ocean when you think about it. However, that's gonna be it for this latest installment of the Kekkei Genkai Handbook. Let me know which Kekkei Genkai you guys want me to cover in the future, and if I like it enough, I'll turn it into a video. But so always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.